Hi, y'all. My name is Jane. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a junior studying chemical engineering and sustainability at UT. I want to talk about my biggest mistake and also my biggest accomplishments of my first year at UT. So, my biggest failure or sort of general area that I wish I'd done better in was self advocating. I think that was a really foreign concept to me. And so when I got to school, everybody runs into issues. I had issues with my roommate. I had issues in a lot of classes. I felt like I was kind of being left behind. I had issues with my mental health that I had never confronted or talked about before. And I think with all of those things, I just sort of took them and I was like, you know what? I can muscle through it. I'll be fine. I don't need help. And I definitely thought I was just sticking it out and rolling with the punches. What ended up really being the reality was that I was giving myself a lot of unnecessary pressure. I was unwilling to ask for help, unwilling to self advocate or talk to people about what exactly I was going through and needed help with. So I regret that. I wish I had talked more to my professors about hey, I need more help with this assignment. I didn't quite catch everything in lecture, or my mental health hasn't been great recently. And so if you could give me an extension on this deadline, even for a couple hours, that'd be really helpful. You won't always get a yes with those questions, but it never hurts to self-advocate, and sort of getting comfortable with that was a really big learning curve my first year. On the flip side, I think my greatest accomplishment my first year, and this is something that I've carried through college, is prioritizing relationships. I have built a network that I'm really proud of. Network kind of sounds businessy or I'm using people, but truly it's just friendships, the people you meet through clubs. I have met a lot of really great people, and those have been the people that are helping me when I'm down, and also really challenging me to grow and expand myself and get everything that I can out of college. So that is so glad I did that. I think I did a really great job just getting out there, meeting people, making great friends, and that's extended through my past couple years of college. So highly recommend it. Everybody makes mistakes their first year though, so you'll have something that you fail on, but you'll have other things that you did really well.
Hi, my name is Pauline Arts. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm a third year environmental engineering student from Houston, Texas. And today I'm going to be talking about my biggest mistake and my biggest accomplishment as a first year. So I think my biggest mistake as a freshman was not taking advantage of all the resources that UT and the Cockrell School has to offer. I took Physics 1 here at UT my second semester of my freshman year, and I struggled really, really heavily in that class. But instead of going to the free study hours that the Cockrell School hosts almost every day of the week, or going to the Sanger Learning Center where you can get hours of free tutoring, I tried to study and learn the material on my own time, and I was still able to pass the class, but I ended up getting a C, and looking back, I think that could have easily been improved to a B or even higher if I had utilized these resources more, or had gone to the professor to ask for help. My biggest accomplishment as a first year was probably finding my place at UT. First, coming into my first semester, I struggled quite a bit. I came from a very small high school and I didn't really know many people. So my first semester, I made it through a few friends through my first year interest group and by living on campus. And I'd gone to a few org meetings, but I didn't really engage that much or talk to many people at those meetings. So my second semester, I tried harder. I tried going to different org meetings, going out of my comfort zone, and I found that I really enjoyed my time more, and that I found a good group of friends that where I felt at home. So yeah, I would recommend having a professional or engineering organization club that you're in, and then a social organization. My first semester at UT, I was really only involved with engineering orgs and activities, and I found it hard to kind of get out of that bubble. So my second semester, when I joined a social org, I had a lot more fun. There was a lot more things to do on the weekends, and it was just good to kind of get out of the bubble where you're not talking about school or anything like that.
Hi, my name is Davika. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm a fourth year student. I'm studying petroleum engineering, and my hometown is Houston, Texas. I think the biggest mistake I made as a first year student was taking too many classes. My second semester, I took 18 hours, which was around six classes and one lab, or 5 classes and one lab. I can't remember. But the reason I think that was a mistake was because my classes were a little bit more difficult than the classes I took in high school. So taking 5 classes in high school might not be the same as taking 5 classes in college. And also, I had less time to study as a college student because I was managing more things, especially because I was in a new environment. So in future semesters, where I took 4 classes every semester, I found that I had more time to learn my subjects well, and as a result, I enjoyed them more. And I think the biggest accomplishment I had as a first year student was pursuing leadership opportunities as a first year student. Some people might think that student organizations, the leadership roles are only for upperclassmen, like juniors and seniors. But actually, by the end of my first semester, I already had 2 leadership roles. The first one was as a freshman representative for one of my organizations for my major, and the second one was for a logistics role in a international relations organization. So I would say to anybody who's interested in leadership opportunities, there are opportunities, especially if you're a first year student. You just have to communicate your passion and your interest in them, and you'll be just as likely to get that position as anybody else.
Hi, my name is Riley. I'm a third year environmental engineering major, and I'm going to tell you my biggest mistake and biggest accomplishment of my freshman year. So, my first year was really hard for me because I didn't want to change my study habits, which was my biggest mistake. I still studied in my bed alone or at my desk alone, and it just wasn't working for me. I was realizing that I was really struggling with all the assignments. And when I started working more in groups and finding more friends in my classes, it became a lot easier. Collaboration is just really what makes success in engineering. The material and content just gets so hard, it's really hard to work through on your own. If you have other people to study with, you can bounce ideas off each other and kind of teach each other what you don't know. And it's a really good way to work. My biggest accomplishment was joining the Women in Civil Architectural Environmental Engineering organization and becoming an officer. It's a pretty big deal to become an officer your first year, but it's definitely attainable and it looks really good for resumes and gives you a leadership role right away. And not to mention, I made a lot of friends within the org by supporting the org and running and doing all that. So.